Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. One arrested following Sunday's robbery of security guards. One person has been taken into custody in relation to Sunday's robbery and wounding of 4 Beryllium Limited security guards and a civilian in Portmore, St. Catherine. Speaking with reporters on Tuesday morning, head of the St. Catherine South Police Division Senior Superintendent Christopher Phillips confirmed that a suspect has been accosted. While he did not give further details, he said investigations have intensified and the police are following strong leads. At about 12:40 p.m. on Sunday, the security guards were servicing a Scotiabank automated teller machine when they were pounced upon by armed men who opened fire on them and robbed them of $23 million. During a shootout, the 4 guards and the civilian were shot. The gunmen then fled the scene. The wounded guards and civilian are being treated at hospital. Master Mark comment triggers opposition walk out of Parliament. Members of parliamentary opposition walk out of Parliament earlier this afternoon after a verbal sprawl with Speaker of the House, Marissa Darimpo-Filbert. The verbal tussle was triggered by a comment made by Finance and the Public Service Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, as he closed the budget debate in Parliament. Clark seemed to have opened a proverbial can of worm when he referred to the leader of the opposition, Mark Golding, as Master Mark. Before calling Golding Master Mark, the finance minister referenced the opposition leader comment at a party meeting in which he described Labourites as damn fool that never sound like Marky G. Clark quitted. However, the word master, used by Clark to describe Golding's seemingly irritated member of Parliament for St. Andrew South was Angela Brownburg, who rose on a point of order. While attempting to explain her point in order to the Speaker, she was heckled by Member of Parliament for Kingston Western, Desmond Mackenzie. Brownburg shot back, "Shut your mouth." This triggered further uproar in the House, with the Speaker charging that Brownburg used unparliamentary language. Darimpo-Filbert told the St. Andrew Southwest MP to withdraw the comment before making her point of order. However, Brownburg protested, arguing that Clark's Master Mark comment was also unparliamentary language. In a slow-to-voice comment, controversially, St. Catherine Southwest MP Everald Warmington said it is not unparliamentary, he is a descendant of a slave master. Brownburg again protested to the Speaker, referencing Warmington's slow-to-voice comment. However, the Speaker said she could not rule on a remark that she did not hear. As the Speaker insisted on Brownburg's withdrawal of the shut-up remark made to Mackenzie, the opposition MP resisted, saying she would not retract on the Speaker's terms. Members of Parliament, including Golding, walked out of the chamber before Clark completed his presentation. Member of Parliament for Westmoreland Central George Wright was the lone figure left on the opposition benches. Darimpo-Filbert is to make a ruling next week in relation to the outburst by Brownburg. St. Anne man charged after gun allegedly found under pillow. The police in St. Anne have charged a man after an illegal gun was allegedly found under a pillow on his bed. 34-year-old Alric Francis of Perry Hill, St. Catherine and Faithspin Monique, St. Anne has been charged with possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition. The seizure was made in the Faithspin community on Sunday, March 19. Reports from the St. Anne's Bay Police are that about midday, lawmen conducted an operation in the area when Francis' house was searched. According to the police, a 9mm pistol affixed with a magazine contracting 8 9mm rounds was found under a pillow on a bed he was lying on. The firearm and ammunition were secured and Francis was arrested and subsequently charged for the seizure. His court date is being finalized. Couple in $85 million cocaine seizure gets new court date. May 3rd return date has been set for St. James couple charged in relation to the seizure of cocaine valued at approximately $85 million. Bank employee Sheena Headley and her husband Chad are charged with possession of, dealing in, and taking steps to export cocaine. When the case was called up in the St. James Parish Court on Monday before presiding parish judge Keisha Grant Price, the court was informed that prosecution was awaiting the analysis of video evidence by the Communication Forensics and Cybercrime Division CFCD. As a result, a new mentioned date was rescheduled for May 3rd and the couple base was extended. Allegations are that about 6 p.m. on June 15 last year, cops from the Area 1 Narcotics Police Division carried out an operation at a premises in Goodwill, St. James. During the search, 10 rectangular shaped packages were found in the trunk of a Toyota Prado SUV belonging to Sheena Headley. The packages were later identified as cocaine, weighing approximately 25 pounds. Following an interview, she was arrested and charged with breaches of the Dangerous Drug Act. The Narcotics Police subsequently issued a release identifying Chad Headley as a person of interest who could assist in the investigation. He was later taken into custody and was arrested and charged. NCT Vet and VTDI workers stage sit-in. Workers at NCT Vet and VTDI staged a sit-in to voice their displeasure with the handling of their issues with their employer, Heart NSTA Trust. The workers are upset about the lack of communication from Heart NSTA Trust about their outstanding payment agreements due to them. They are also concerned about the security of tenure ahead of the transition from Heart NSTA Trust to the Ministry of Education without long-standing issues being addressed. Kurt Fletcher, island supervisor at the National Workers Union, said the workers were told by the management of Heart that they would be out of a job by March 31st and that new offers would be made to them. Now the union is not aware that this process is taking place, and even if it was to take place, there are certain steps that have to be done or gone through before any advice of any worker is concerned, and we believe the management was derelict in their duty, Mr. Fletcher complained. He said a meeting is to be held on Friday to resolve the issues. Red Stripe warns public about scam. Red Stripe is warning the public about a scam offering money to persons to participate in a promotion. The Bureau Company says unscrupulous persons are circulating a fraudulent link labeled Red Stripe 105th Anniversary Promotion Subsidy. It says this activity is hot and is not connected to Red Stripe ban. The company underscores that this unauthorized use of Red Stripe's trade, name, and trademark is contrary to the law. Any person or persons engaged in this practice should immediately cease and desist the posting, sharing and broadcasting and reposting, resharing and rebroadcasting of this website. Government signs wage offer with 95% of public sector groups. The Finance Ministry has signed agreements for the reconstructed compensation system with more public sector groups and expect to complete the process when the police eventually sign up. With 95% of the groups accepting the government's offer, these workers will get their retroactive monies this month. The update was given by Portfolio Minister Dr. Nigel Clark as he closed the budget debate in Parliament on Tuesday. Dr. Clark said some groups signed the agreement on Tuesday. He expressed appreciation to the police, teachers, doctors, firefighters, legal officers, probation officers, and correctional officers for now agreeing with the reform. Dr. Clark said work is underway to ensure that payroll departments make the payments for this month.
I would have updated this House that the government had reached agreement with groups representing 60,000 employees. Well, Madam Speaker, during this, my closing budget presentation, I'm pleased to update this House and the country that the government has now reached agreements with several other unions, bargaining groups, and staff associations that allows the implementation to have either begun earlier or to shortly begin. And we anticipate, Madam Speaker, that before long, that number of 60,000, Madam Speaker, will become 105,000 government employees, or 95% of the public service, once we sign off with the rank and file members of the police who have written indicating the acceptance of the government's offer. And the fiscal risks of which I was concerned, and I shared my concern at the time, Madam Speaker, with employees of the government of Jamaica and with the people of Jamaica more generally, that specific risks, based on if the condition I just described a while ago is met, meaning that all groups sign off, we would have averted that particular fiscal risk. Madam Speaker, we expect that certainly for the groups who have signed, the retroactive payments will be paid out this month. It may not come on the 25th, clearly, because a lot of the agreements were just signed. Some of them have been signed today the 21st. But we will endeavor that the funds will leave the consolidated fund by the end of the month. While it is important to recognize the milestone of reaching the point where over 95% of public officers have indicated acceptance of the government's offer, we still have work to do across the public sector to effect payments. The payroll system of government is decentralized and highly fragmented. And there's a project underway, a part of our transformation exercise, is to address this. And the Ministry of Finance is only a part of the payment exercise process. We issue instructions to ministries, departments, and agencies, and through the Transformation Implementation Unit, perform quality control checks. But the payroll departments of the particular ministry, departments, and agencies have an integral role, and we'll be working to support them to ensure that the implementation we expect towards the end of this month goes as smooth as it possibly can, given the late time frame of some of these agreements. So, Madam Speaker, we say in advance, thanks to those in the payroll systems across the public service who will be working feverishly. We'll be working night and day over the next days remaining in March to calculate and to effect payments.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the